knows those chords. It's Roxanne from The Police. One of my favorite all-time songs. Great song. It sounds a little bit more complicated than it actually is, largely because of some great, interesting chords that Andy Summers uses in this song. I'm going to take you through all these chords, all the changes, and also show you how to play it on an acoustic guitar, which is exactly the same way, but because I'm doing it on electric, it kind of makes it sound like it's an electric guitar. And the sound, yes, it's electric, but it sounds really good on an acoustic guitar as well. I'm going to show you exactly how that does sound in a moment. The chords. We start off with 2 bars of G minor. Now, with most of the chords in this song, Andy uses the higher strings only as part of the voicings because, you know, he wants to stay out of Sting's way as a bass player. So the voicing he uses for the G minor is 5th fret D string, 3rd fret G, 3rd fret B, 3rd fret E. And that's your G minor. That's the first chord for the first 2 bars. Then when the verse starts, where we stay on the G minor for a bar, then we go to an F6. So you move that shape down 2 frets, turn it into an F chord, and add your pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string. Then we move up to a D sharp or an E flat major 7. Down 1 fret to a D minor 7. And all the way through, what we're doing with these chords is we're squeezing them on with 1 strum, squeezing on at the same time, and then immediately releasing the pressure without taking your fingers off the strings. So the chord gets cut short and you get that really nice staccato sort of reggae feel to it. But you leave your fingers touching the strings so it stops them dead. After the D minor 7, we're down to a C minor 7, same shape, 2 frets down. Then we go to an F7 sus4. Now, I've got it on your chart as the full F7 sus4, but Andy leaves this E string out of it. So he strums from the A string down, which makes it a sort of a more interesting voicing and fits better with the bass. Then on the 4 and beat, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, on that beat, which is why you catch it on an up strum, the and beats will be on the up strums, and the solid number beats, if you like, will be on down strums. He moves that shape up 2 frets to a G7 sus4, and he does the same thing by leaving off that bottom G string, bottom E string. So it's that sort of voicing. And if you're strumming with your fingers, it's easier to do because you just put your thumb, you let your thumb rest on the E string. There it is. If you're playing with your pick, then you want to just miss that bottom E string. Or, you know, if you're one of these players that has their thumb over the top of the neck, which I can't really do, then you can mute your E string that way. But either way, that's the voicing coming on the 4 and beat of that bar. And then you hold that through the next 2 bars. That's the first time through that chord progression for the intro. Then the second time through, so that section after the 2 bars of intro, it goes through that chord progression and it hits the repeat sign and goes back to the start of that section for the first verse. Same bunch of chords. G minor, F6, E flat major 7, D minor 7, C minor 7, F7 sus4, and then G7 sus4 on the upbeat. Hit the repeat sign, do it for a 3rd time, which is your second verse. Then, after the second verse, we move into the bridge section. Now, the bridge section starts on C minor 7, Roxanne, same strumming, straight down to the F7 sus4. You don't have to put on the red light. So C minor 7, F7 sus4, G7 sus4, Roxanne. Again, you don't have to put on, and hit that on the up strum on the 4 and beat. Now, what I've done, rather than put the chords exactly over the beat every time in this chart, which would make it very messy, wherever you see that little 4 and beat underneath the end of a bar, it means the chord from the next bar is landing there first. So you land on the 4 and you hold that chord through the next bar. So when we reach the end of that bridge and you hit that G7 sus4, you stay there, you hold that for a bar, and then you start moving and building up this chord. Now you move from a G7 sus4 to a straight up G5 or a G power chord, because what we're doing is we're building up to the chorus, and here are the chords for the chorus, and they land on these offbeats. So I've put them on the beat that they land on in your chart. So where it says 3 and, it means 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? And where it says 4 and, that's the 4 and. So it's like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3, and strum eighth notes. Doesn't matter whether you do the F down there or the F up there. And then when you land on the final G7 sus4 at the end of the chorus, hold that. Then it goes back to the intro again. Now this time it's a double intro, so 4 bars of G minor. And you're on the second page of your chart book. Into verse 3. Ever since I knew you, bridge. Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light, put on the red light, put on the red light. So all those chords in the chorus are of course power chords, which means the root note and the 5th note of the scale. Whatever the chord that is, whether it's B flat, it's the root, which is the B flat obviously, and the 5th note of the B flat major scale. The easiest way to remember that for your power chords is that shape, which is whatever the root note is on, you go over to the next string 2 frets up and you play that note, and that's your power chord. If you want to add the note on the same fret as your 5th, the note on the same fret on the D string or on the next string over, because you can also start with your root note on the A string, that's just the octave again. So those 2 notes are the octave, so it doesn't change the chord by adding that, and it just makes it a bit chunkier. All power chords in the chorus, except for the very last one when you land on that G7 sus4. And that's all there is to the song. I say all there is, there's a fair bit there. It's a very clever song, it's a great song, one of the all-time classics, and we'll see you here again soon. Thanks a lot.